Kia ora everybody and welcome back to Civilization 6. Today I'm going to take you through Canada, one of the civs that received one of the most significant buffs out of the last free and quote-unquote final April update to Civilization 6. Without any further ado, let me jump straight in and tell you why Canada is an absolute snow and tundra powerhouse, but unlike their Russian counterparts, they're a little bit more diplomatically inclined. Let's jump straight in with Wilfred's and Canada's ability, Four Faces of Peace. This prevents Canada from having declared surprise wars. It also prevents them from having them declared against them. So as Canada, you cannot declare surprise wars against city-states, and you cannot have them declared against you. There are some other elements of Four Faces of Peace. Say that 5 times fast. Also, after you successfully complete emergencies, those big diplomatic events that take place later in the game, or if you score in competitions, like, say, the Olympic Games style events, you'll receive a plus 100% multiplier on diplomatic favor. The bonus, however, has no effect if you are the target of the emergency. Okay? So per successful emergency, you receive 100% diplomatic favor, and finally, for every 100 tourism you produce, you also receive 1 diplomatic favor. So you can see in Canada's civilization ability, there's a sense of peace and diplomacy. Canada's start bias, I should add, is a tier 1 start bias towards Tundra and Tundra Hills, and they also have a tier 5 start bias towards snow and snowy hills. It means you're going to be spending a lot of time in the snow. That's important when we consider the leader ability. Wilfred's leader ability is really, really powerful, and that's what really helps shape Canada into the tundra powerhouse that I would argue is actually more competitive than Russia. Citation needed, a little bit controversial, I know. Wilfred allows you to construct farms on flat tundra tiles. And with the industrial era civil engineering civic, you can also create farms on tundra hill tiles, and farms on those tiles will produce +2 food. Also, camps on flat tundra and tundra hills, flat snow and snow hills, produce +2 food. Mines and lumber mills on those same tiles have +2 production. Flat tundra and hills, flat snow and snow hills can also be purchased for 50% less gold, so you can acquire tiles much easier as Canada with your gold. And finally, that's right, Wilfred has even more to offer. You receive plus 100% strategic resource generation from improved flat tundra and snow, and again, tundra hills and snow. However, there's a wee caveat here. It's important to remember that resources like aluminium and horses don't actually appear on tundra or snow. And I think from memory, iron, niter, and coal can appear on tundra, but they can't appear on those more useless snow tiles, right? Tundra being tiles that are slightly covered in white, and snow being full-on snowy tiles, generally regarded as useless. So you can see here that with Wilfred's ability, he really favors the tundra in a major way. And you'll see in the video that when you build on this tundra tiles, you receive such incredible yields, really incredible yields of food and production, and it enables you to make the most of land that most civs wouldn't be interested in touching. And that's another benefit for you as Wilfred of Canada. You can really claim land that no one else is interested in, which generally means you're going to get a fairly reasonable starting position. Now let's talk about how Canada's unique unit and, crucially, their unique building come into play here, because they're pretty significant. I'm going to start with the unique improvement, the unique building, which is a tile improvement for Canada. It's called the Ice Hockey Rink. As you would expect, it can be built on featureless flat tundra hills, flat snow, and snow hills within your territory. You can also only have 1 ice hockey rink per city. So unlike some other tile yields that you can build 1 million of, like farms, you're limited to 1 per city, and you unlock this wonderful cultural powerhouse with the colonialism civic. Again, civics are vital as Canada to get what you want. So, what does this wonderful ice hockey rink do? Well, it provides a flat-out 1 amenity for the city, even if it's not worked, and to appeal to adjacent tiles. That helps you with your appeal and happiness, obviously, but also synergizes quite well with Canada's national park focus, which is brought in by their unique unit, the Mountie. I'll get to that in a minute. The adjacency yields of the ice hockey rink are what really set it apart, and you can become a cultural powerhouse with it. Let me tell you why. It receives 1 culture per adjacent. Again, are you seeing a theme here? Flat tundra, tundra hills, flat snow, and snow hills. It doesn't include mountains, by the way. So you get 1 culture per adjacent tile of those. It can be quite easy for you to get 6 of those tiles adjacent, by the way. Look at the gameplay. You can see, as Canada, you're gonna settle in the tundra. It's pretty easy for you to get all of that adjacency. You also receive an additional 4 culture if the ice hockey rink is adjacent to an entertainment complex with a stadium. And that is key. You do need to have the stadium. If you don't have the stadium, you won't quite get as much. Although typically, you would need the Atomic Era Civic Professional Sports in order to actually maximize that yield. But it is possible to get the +4 culture boost from a Civ stadium being adjacent. Without a stadium, the best possible boost is going to be +6, though, from your adjacencies. But if you can get a stadium in your entertainment complex and have all those adjacencies, this tile can yield 10 culture and 1 amenity. Insane. And the strategy for these, which you can see me pull off in this video in part, is basically to have an entertainment complex down with a stadium in the middle, and then you want to flank that with theatre districts and ice hockey rinks, alternating. So you go theatre district, ice hockey, theatre district, ice hockey, theatre district, ice hockey. And those are the 6 tiles that will surround your amenities district. The way that you do that, of course, is by trying to sort of position 3 cities in a triangle and then ensuring that you have some tundra or some snow in between them. That is the strategy for the ice hockey rink, and my goodness, you are going to produce a whole load of yields from it. And of course, it gets even better still. There's a bit of strategy here. So once you research flight, the technology in the modern era, culture yield is added to tourism. All of a sudden, you're getting 10 culture and 10 tourism. Once you have that professional sports civic, you'll also receive, which is unlocked in the Atomic era, by the way, you'll also receive +2 food and +2 production. That will bring your ice hockey rinks to a maximum total of 10 culture, 10 tourism, 1 amenity, 2 food and 2 production, and you can have multipliers from your civic cards on top of that, meaning you can easily double these yields. Folks, the ice hockey rink is incredible. It synergizes reasonably well with the Mountie, although you may be using the Mountie less often. So what does the Mountie do? Well, you unlock it with conservation. It has 62 combat strength, which is not terrible, but not great. It really is not good at attacking cities. Negative 85% damage to walls and urban defenses. You don't want to be fighting cities with this unit, and it's not what it's designed to do with 5 movement and 4 sight. This unit also has 2 charges equipped to build national parks with. It also receives +5 combat strength if it's within 2 tiles of a national park owned by Canada, and +5 combat strength more generally within 2 tiles of national parks. Now, what does this mean? It means actually it's a fairly strong unit within 2 tiles of a national park. Its sight radius and its movement also make it very quick. So you can use that modern era light cavalry unit to its advantage in that way as well. Outside of that, though, you're probably going to use it to place down your national parks. It is basically just a much better replacement to the normal national park unit. And I would recommend that you build a couple of these and try and get down some national parks. It'll be good for your tourism. It'll be good for your defense as well if you need to use the Mounties defensively. So that's the Mountie. That's Canada's unique unit. Now let's talk a little bit more about some strategy for Canada in terms of all sorts of things from civic to build orders, and some of the things that I see players doing that they really shouldn't. Some pitfalls of playing as Canada. In terms of your victory conditions, which is what I'd like to start with, I think really it needs to be culture or diplomacy. You could argue maybe a religious victory if you get the holy site adjacency bonuses and extra faith from Tundra tiles if you can grab that pantheon, but really you're going to be looking at culture or diplomacy. Canada is strongest, I think, at culture. As I said, those ice hockey rinks can provide 10 tourism per turn, as well as appeal boosts from adjacent national parks and seaside resorts. Really, you can snowball out of control. You can have snowball out of control. The Mountie also allows you to easily build natural parks without having to spend any faith, right? Diplomacy is your second path, and I would recommend that you actually try and sort of run them in tandem if you can. Being immune from surprise wars is really helpful in single-player games, of course, not useful in multiplayer, but that's how it is. While the bonuses from diplomatic favor generation do give you an edge in the World Congress, that's not particularly useful in the early game, which is why I do think you need to focus on culture as well. However, Canada is sort of vying for both culture and diplomacy, and they do have some real synergy. It often means, though, by the time you're in a winning position for a diplomatic game, you potentially already got a stronger culture game. So it's something to consider, and that's why I really do recommend that you ride them in tandem together. Canada's really not particularly good at domination because of those surprise war benefits, and because you really want to work towards having good diplomacy, good diplomatic relations. You want to be befriending your neighbors, you want to be trading with them, having open borders with them. That will help your tourism, and crucially, it will also help protect you. So I would really recommend that you don't take a domination victory. In terms of science, Canada is fairly average in this regard. There are some viable locations for campuses, of course. You're probably going to be near some strategic resources and some mountains. Immunity from surprise wars is useful there as well, but overall you're not really producing a huge amount of science. In terms of where to settle, you really want to focus on getting as many builders down as you can, okay? I can't stress that enough. Canada scales really strongly with builders. You need them because Tundra tiles by default are rubbish, right? They are rubbish. There's a reason why most civs don't prefer them. They don't produce good yields. You need to have your builders out there putting farms down in farm triangles or larger, like you can see on screen next to Ottawa there. Look at those adjacency bonuses that those farms are producing on those Tundra tiles. You can see I'm getting well in excess of 5 food, 6 food in some of those. And I'm still even yet to achieve some of the civics and so on and so forth that I need to really boost those farms. So I would really strongly recommend that you focus on settling on rivers in tundra areas and consolidating your cities close to each other so that you can enact that strategy I talked about earlier in the video with getting your ice rinks and theatre districts around a stadium, okay? So you definitely want to do that. You want to settle close on rivers in the tundra and definitely build those farms. Just to touch on those a bit more with your builders, because of course you also have improved production tile improvements as well as your ice rinks, which are also tile improvements. Really, I know it sounds simple. Build some builders? Wow, great tip, Jumbo. But actually it really, really matters, and that's why I'm stressing it so much, right? Flat Tundra only offers 1 food, but once you build a farm there, it's instantly up to 4. Add the 0.5 housing on top, and you can see that you can grow really quickly if you get these farms out. With feudalism, farms in a triangle will have that +1 food, now you're at 5. You'll be able to build farms on Tundra Hills once you get civic engineering, but you generally probably don't want to do that because you want to keep your farms adjacent to each other, and also your mines and your lumber mills on hills provide you with bonus production, so I would recommend building those instead. Then of course finally, once you get replaceable parts, you get another +1 food per adjacent farm, bringing you up to 6 food. Floodplains are jealous of you. They are jealous of you as Canada because you are incredible. You are absolutely incredible and you love the snow. Do not fall behind on your builders. I almost would say build a builder first in every city before you go for the monument or the granary or whatever it is you're doing. Thank you very much for joining me today in this Civilization 6 guide. I hope you enjoyed it. I really think that Canada is one of the more complicated civs to say, and forgive the pun, but I'm really just touching the tip of the iceberg here, talking about Canada and strategies with Canada. And I think there's a whole range of strategies to talk about in terms of how to generate diplomatic favor, but we'll shelve that for another video. My takeaways are that you're going to be a cultural and diplomatic powerhouse. You're going to want to play a relatively peaceful game, focusing on tourism and diplomacy as much as you can. Make sure you participate in those emergencies and scored competitions wherever possible. Try and find synergies between faith and tourism, between faith and culture. Make sure that you utilize your national parks, preferably in the most beautiful areas you possibly can. The more charming, the better. And finally, and in summary, ensure that you're keeping up with your cultural cards, okay? They're really important. You want to be generating as much bonus tourism and culture as you can. Other than that, that concludes this video. Thank you very much for watching, and until the next one, I'll catch you all next time. Bye-bye.